Planned an amazing beach getaway for my girlfriend's birthday. She ditched me for her friends and things got messy. I, 28M, have been with my girlfriend, 25F, for 8 months. My girlfriend has had a very tight-knit group of girlfriends since high school and she never does anything without consulting them first. We met at a work event a year ago and got to talking and I asked her out several times before she finally said yes. The reason for that, I found out later, was that she was waiting for her friends to approve of me. I thought it was a little strange that she couldn't even say yes to a date without her friends' permission, but she told me that this was normal in her circle, so I didn't question it any further. I've met her friends and they seem to be nice people, so I don't have any issues. They must be looking out for their friend as well, so I guess this works for my girlfriend. Anyway, a couple of weeks ago, my girlfriend told me that she'd always loved the idea of going on a beach trip with her partner, but it never materialized because of some reason or the other. Her birthday was coming up, so I decided to surprise her with a beach trip. I planned it all and booked a relaxing spa for her as well, just to make it extra special. Obviously, she didn't know anything about it and I made sure that I didn't give it away since I was pretty bad at secrets. I was really excited about this trip as well, since this would be the first big thing that I did for my girlfriend and I wanted it to be as memorable as possible. But then, a few days before her birthday, she sat me down and told me that she wanted to go out partying with her friends. She said that they'd been planning to take her out for weeks and promised to make it up to me later on. I asked her if her friends could do it at a later date, but she told me that she's the one who wanted to spend her birthday with them and hoped that I wouldn't take it to heart. Of course, saying that didn't help since it did hurt me that she didn't want to spend her day with me. I tried to convince her, but in the end, she just got annoyed with me and told me that she wasn't going to change her mind and I needed to suck it up and accept her decision. I was really upset about what she'd said, so I decided to cancel the trip entirely. I did lose some money, but whatever. I was really pissed off and hurt that she would rather spend her birthday with her friends than with me. I mean, I understand that she's been friends with them for a long time, but as her boyfriend, I was really looking forward to spending time with her as well. She spends every single weekend going out with her friends and stuff, and I never mind it simply because I know how much her friends mean to her. I just wanted her to spend time with me over her friends, and I know that makes me sound selfish, but it just sucks that she always picks her friends over me. I canceled the trip and I didn't even bother to tell her about what I'd planned since I'd really wanted it to be a surprise, and she'd already ruined it all by saying that she wanted to be with her friends instead of me. It was her birthday yesterday and she did end up spending it partying with her friends and they seemed to have had a lot of fun. My friends found it a little weird as well, but I didn't care. I was really upset the whole day and tried not to think about it. Today, she came over and I tried to act as though nothing had happened. She seemed to be quite happy as well and was telling me all about how her friends had gotten her drunk and how much fun they'd had, without even noticing how hurt I looked. After a while, I felt like I was going to cry and I didn't want to seem like a baby in front of her, so I excused myself to go to the loo. I was extremely upset about everything that had happened in the past few days and didn't know how to tell her that I was feeling neglected without seeming like I was insecure. Anyway, I washed my face and went back out so that I could try to talk to her about how she was making me feel. But when I came back out, I noticed that my girlfriend looked serious and saw that my phone was clutched in her hands. As soon as she saw me, she approached me and showed me my phone screen, demanding an explanation as to why I'd canceled her birthday trip. The resort that I'd booked had sent a text about how they regretted that I had canceled my stay and informed me that my refund was complete now with all the details included. I guess my girlfriend saw that and realized what had happened, but instead of seeming sorry, she seemed angry, and that was pretty confusing for me. Keeping my calm, I told her that I'd canceled the trip the day she'd told me that she'd rather spend her birthday with her friends instead. And when I said that to her, she totally flipped out on me and started yelling at me about how I'd ruined her birthday. She was really pissed off and said that I had been extremely immature and that I should have at least told her about my plan to try and convince her to come with me. I didn't understand how any of this was my fault since I'd done something to surprise her, but she's the one who rejected it without even giving me a chance. I reminded her that I'd even tried to get her to spend the day with me, but she's the one who was hell-bent on going out with her friends and even ended up fighting with me when I was trying to convince her. She got even more annoyed while I was arguing with her and called me immature and selfish. And then she accused me of ruining her special day on purpose once again, so I shot right back, saying that had she at least given me a chance to take her out, then she would have known what I had in store for her. So she only has herself to blame in this situation, and calling me immature wasn't going to change what had already happened. I told her that she needed to reevaluate her priorities and stop acting like she and her friends were still in high school. She was already pretty upset, and when I said that, she called me a jerk and left my house in tears. It's been 2 hours since she left, and while initially, I had felt better after fighting with her and getting it all off my chest, I actually do feel like a total jerk right now. I can't get the image of her crying out of my head and feel like I did ruin her birthday somehow, even though the logical part of my brain says that I'm not responsible for this. It's just that I really like this woman, and apart from her sort of juvenile behavior when it comes to her friends, she's pretty much perfect. Don't get me wrong, I love the fact that she's so loyal to her friends, since it just goes to show that she's just a loyal and trustworthy person in general. But sometimes it feels as though she likes spending time with them more than she does with me, and that's really hurtful. I think anyone in my place would feel the same way as well. However, I think this time I might have acted rashly and ended up hurting her feelings. I don't feel good about what I did and what I said in the least, even though I'd thought that getting this weight off my chest would make me feel better about this situation. But it didn't, and now I'm feeling really confused. On one hand, I want to apologize to her and just get this fight over with, but on the other, I know that this isn't my fault. She's always put her friends above me, and while I know that she's known them a lot longer than she's known me, it obviously doesn't hurt any less. I'm lost and I truly have no idea what to do right now. I'm panicking because if I don't do something fast, I might end up losing her. I don't want to risk that, but I don't want to apologize either, to be honest, which is why I'm here to ask if Ida for canceling the beach trip I'd planned for my GF's birthday after she told me that she wanted to spend the day with her friends instead. Update 1. One whole day has passed since our fight, and this is probably the longest that we've gone without speaking to each other. It feels weird as hell, but I'm not going to apologize to her first if that's what she's expecting. I thought about this situation real hard and I just cannot understand how exactly I am in the wrong here. I don't think I am, so I'm not gonna apologize either. And I'm guessing my girlfriend has already told her friends about this incident because a few minutes ago, I checked my social media and realized that some of them had blocked me. The ones who hadn't were posting cryptic quotes and pictures of them with my girlfriend about how she deserved better. It irked me a lot that they were enabling her and making her feel even more as though she was the victim of something terrible and not just the consequences of her own actions. Moreover, I couldn't believe that these women who had been so nice to me every time I'd met them had turned on me and were now trying to make me the bad guy despite knowing damn well that I'm not. If they were good friends of my girlfriend and wanted the best for her, they would have explained to her that she was wrong here and what I did was just natural, but they're adding fuel to the fire instead. It's just disgusting, and honestly, I think that they're just not happy that my girlfriend has a partner. Now that I think of it, there are 7 other girls in her group and none of them have had the same boyfriend for over 3 months. I'm not shaming them or anything, but earlier, it really used to make me think about why they just couldn't make a relationship work. I'm not the kind of guy who just breaks up whenever the going gets tough, and I like to give relationships my all before I even consider breaking up, so to me things like these are really strange and don't really make sense to me. My girlfriend and I have had small fights and disagreements before, but we've always managed to fix it within a few hours, and I don't think she's ever complained to her friends about it. I'm guessing it's because her friends will only advise her to break up at the slightest inconvenience. I don't want to break up with my girlfriend and do want to talk things out with her, but if she decides to take her friend's advice and break up with me, then, well, that's her loss. I'll be very hurt, but at least I'll know that I did the right thing and stayed true to myself. Update 2. 3 days ago, I posted the last update when I realized that some of her friends had blocked me and were egging her on to break up with me, in all probability. And today I got to know that I'd definitely been right about my suspicions. My girlfriend and I hadn't spoken for 3 days after our fight, and by today, I'd given up hope of getting back with her and was almost sure that we were over. I was really upset and decided to take a day off from work so that I could spend it at home, moping and watching something fun to feel better. But then a few hours ago, my doorbell rang and I was a little surprised as I wasn't expecting anyone. But when I opened the door, I found my girlfriend standing out there with a bouquet and a box of my favorite chocolates. I was stunned for a second since I absolutely had no clue how to react to this. As a guy, I've literally never been spoiled in a relationship, and an apology like this seemed huge. I let her in silently since I still didn't know what to say to her, and after a few seconds of awkwardness, she finally blurted out that she was really sorry about whatever had happened and wanted to get back with me if I would still have her. She didn't even give me a chance to speak and went on talking about how after our fight, she'd headed over to a friend's house since they had planned to meet that afternoon for brunch anyway, so she'd just shown up early. When she met them, she told them what had happened, and just as I'd expected, they were all up in arms about it and demanded that she break up with me immediately. They even told her that they'd never liked me anyway and made all sorts of mean comments about my height and the way I looked. Then, one of her friends suggested that she should go out on a date with another guy just to make me mad. And that's when the warning bells started going off in her head, because she knew that what her friend was suggesting was literally the definition of cheating and emotional manipulation. To her surprise, her other friends agreed with this tactic as well and even told her that they'd tried this in the past and it always worked when it came to making the guy apologize. This was the first time that she'd told her friends about a serious relationship problem, and she was shocked at whatever her friends were suggesting. She told them that she didn't want to do that, but that just made her friends mock her for being too pansy and simple-minded, and even said that her submissive behavior was the reason her boyfriend, felt comfortable doing such mean things to her. I am my girlfriend's first serious adult relationship since the first relationship she had was in high school, which lasted for a year, but they broke up when they went to college and he ended up cheating on her. She didn't date anyone after that because of her trust issues and stuff, and of course, her friends never deemed anyone worthy of dating anyway, so while she did go on a couple of dates and have some flings for fun, it was never really meaningful. She told me that she knew that she wanted to make things work with me, and even though we'd been together for less than a year, she already felt attached to me and that couldn't be changed. So listening to her friends' advice and watching them post stuff just to piss me off and even laugh about it like it was all some hilarious joke made her realize that they didn't actually have any good relationship advice for her and were actually probably toxic in their own respective relationships as well. She thought along the same lines that I did about how they could never stick it out with the same guy for more than a few months and came to the conclusion that they were probably not the right people to take relationship advice from. She'd realized her mistake that day itself and even told her friends towards the end of the day about how she wanted to apologize to me and fix things, but that's when they started telling her that she should just listen to them instead and said that apologizing would set a bad precedent and would make her appear weak. She tried to argue that she really was in the wrong here and that apologizing for their own mistake isn't something weak people do, but her friends got pissed off when she tried to disagree with them, and after arguing with her for a few minutes, they gave her an ultimatum and said that she could either stay friends with them or go crawling back to me. My girlfriend mentioned that this was the exact phrase that they used, and I was kind of shocked that they'd say something like that since it's kind of harsh. And while my girlfriend was desperate to apologize to me and fix our relationship, she was also extremely afraid of losing her friends. She doesn't really have anyone outside of this circle and would end up completely friendless if she chose me, which is why she took 2 days to come around, as she spent these days doing nothing but sobbing in her room and binge eating ice cream out of sheer frustration. But today, she'd woken up with a clear mind and knew that she'd rather be with me than with her friends, since these 2 days had made her realize just how toxic and controlling her friends were. They hadn't even bothered to check up on her after they'd met and were only concerned about some irrelevant gossip they'd heard about some girl from their high school. This made her realize that while she was ready to move on and act like an adult, her friends were still acting like the mean girls clique they'd formed in high school, which was just not okay anymore. I guess I'd been right about her friends after all. So it didn't take her much time to decide that she wanted to apologize to me and make things work because I'm what she needed to make her life better. After her big speech, I was dumbstruck for a few minutes, but as soon as I realized what she was saying, I hugged her without a word, and we actually ended up crying because of how relieved we were. It's been a while since that happened, and we've decided to spend the next 2 days together to make up for lost time. We're also planning on going on that beach trip that had been canceled next weekend, so I guess it all worked out for the best. Update 3. Hey, I thought that the last update would be final, but my girlfriend's friends are awful people, so here I am again. 2 days ago, my girlfriend and I got back together and she shared a selfie of us online with a cute little caption. Her friends saw that and immediately began bombarding her with calls and texts, accusing her of going against their girl code and calling her stupid and weak. They told her that she needed to delete that picture right away or else they'd cut her off, but my girlfriend didn't care anymore and told them to go right ahead. This seemed to piss them off and they kicked her out of their group. I thought that would be the most that they could do, but apparently not. They started posting all sorts of crap about my girlfriend, about how she was a weak-minded woman who had no self-respect, and one of them even posted that she deserved to be cheated on. They'd basically started a whole hate campaign against her, and even though she'd blocked them all, people were still sending her everything that was being posted about her and asking about it. Obviously, she's very upset about it and hate the fact that there's not much I can do to prevent it from happening. I asked her if she wanted me to get my lawyer involved so that we could put an end to this, but she declined, saying that doing something so extreme would only make matters worse. I'm obviously not going to do anything without making sure she's okay with it first, but it just sucks that she's having to deal with this situation at all. I feel really helpless and equally upset about whatever's happening. Her friends are just horrible women with absolutely no compassion or morals, and I can't even believe that they're doing something like this to someone they were friends with up until 2 days ago. This is disgusting. Update 4. Well, my girlfriend got back at her friends and how. I'm so proud of her for standing up to them and showing the world what kind of crappy people they really were. Her friends had been posting about her yesterday, and while she was terribly upset in spite of the fact that she'd blocked them, she decided that she'd had enough of it today. She told me that she was going to make sure they regret talking crap about her online and expose them for the mean girls that they'd always been. She had a lot of texts from the group that she used to be in where her friends would gossip about other people from their high school and make fun of literally everyone, even the people they would pretend to be friends with outside of their circle. So she took several screenshots of those old chats and decided to post them online, tagging each and every person that her friends had been talking about. She herself had never been part of it because she didn't like gossiping, and most of the people that her friends would talk about behind their backs were actually pretty nice, so they had no reason to be so mean to them at all. After a while, that post pretty much brought a whole barrage of pure hatred from her high school classmates against her old friends in the comments. She'd unblocked them for that very reason, too, and was glad to see that her friends were struggling to defend themselves in whatever they'd said. Of course, they were pretty pissed off about it as well. They added her to a group call and threatened to ruin her life and stuff now that she'd gone against them, but I called them on their bluff this time and told them that if they even thought about trying to do anything else to mess with me and my girlfriend, then we'd be taking legal action against them, so they'd better stop. They tried to argue with me, but I wasn't having it and totally told them off about their juvenile and frankly, idiotic behavior. I told them what I thought of them and how they were nothing but a bunch of loser so-called alpha females who still relied on their parents and boyfriends to pay for them everywhere. I ended by telling them to get a real job and stop harassing my girlfriend for attention, and by then I could hear some of them crying while the others tried to attack my girlfriend by calling her a pick-me, but it didn't matter anymore and I hung up and blocked all of them from my girlfriend's phone once again. Now that we're finally done with this crap, my girlfriend and I are back to planning for our vacation, and we're making it bigger and better than whatever I had planned earlier. I think we've earned it.